Hello, Richard. Got your brake booster finished and on the test bench. Let's go over a few things. First of all, the fittings that came off of your booster. This is your brake light switch and the fitting that it's attached to. I didn't touch this. I cleaned this up as best I could, but I didn't touch this. The reason is somebody screwed this down all the way flush, and it's not supposed to be like that. So I didn't want to take this apart and have there be any issues reassembling. I just left it alone. And what I'm talking about is the fact that the brake light switch, these are tapered threads. These are regular 10x1 threads, but these are tapered. So what's supposed to happen is you just screw this thing in until it snugs down, and then you tighten it up until it doesn't leak anymore. That's all. You don't screw it all the way down. You don't put a copper seal underneath here or anything. You just screw this down until it stops leaking, and that's your brake light switch. Then you, if you need to replace it, just unscrew it, screw in another one. And since this one has been screwed in all the way, I don't know if it's splayed out the threads in here or distorted the brass, but I just wasn't going to touch it. But if you go to replace your brake light switch and you have to screw it all the way down in there, well, that's the reason for it. It's this actually might be boogered up, but I'm not gonna. That's something that you'll have to deal with on your end. Now then, let's see. Let's get this off the tripod and go over your booster. Got a new diaphragm, new rebuilt air filter poppet assembly, and all new hydraulics. This is a test port, and so you can check your booster when it's in service in the car. And this line, this hose, vacuum hose, goes up to this gauge right here. And so we've got our two vacuum gauges, and these are tied together so that they'll both register what vacuum is produced by the pump on the test machine. And as the booster is activated, this gauge is supposed to stay at zero, so to show, I mean not zero, but at full vacuum, to show that we don't have any vacuum leaks. We're not supposed to. And this gauge goes to zero when the booster is fully activated. So you'll see this gauge should stay stationary. This gauge goes to zero. Over here on the hydraulic side, we've got, sorry about the hose in the way here. We got input. These two gauges are tied together. This gauge goes up, maxes out. This gauge reads final input pressure as supplied by the master cylinder on the test machine. Output. Both gauges again are tied together. This one goes, maxes out, and this one reads final output pressure. When the booster is activated and with vacuum attached to it, you're going to see a 2-to-1 boost ratio. So 350 in, 700 out. Without vacuum, I'm going to demonstrate that right now. The brake fluid in is the same as the brake fluid out, and that will get up to 350 on the gauge, and you'll see 350 in, 350 out, 350 out. Now we're going to hit it with a vacuum. Now we got 350 in, 700 easily out, maybe a little bit more, because we've got all new parts in there. Okay, good booster. Now here's how I'm coordinated all at one time. All right, while we're under pressure, we check for leaks. Make sure our bleed screws are holding pressure and we don't have any seepage from the joint down here. So we're good to go. I've already tested your booster half a dozen times before this, so I know it's a good booster. So you can use this as a test port, hook up your vacuum gauge, and check your booster whenever you want to. Let's see, bleeding. This bleed screw is not really useful for anything. What you want to do is bleed this one first, then go to your left rear, right rear, no, I'm sorry. You want to go to your right rear, your left rear, your right front, and your left front wheel cylinder, then come back and bleed the booster again. And you may need to make 2 laps around the vehicle before you get the system fully bled. These can be tough systems to bleed. So I've got you a good booster, and I appreciate you sending it to me. And thank you very much. Oh, almost forgot one thing. Take that off. You got flats right here on the slave cylinder. And so what you want to do is put a wrench on here and hold this while you tighten down the fittings on the nose, on the end of the slave cylinder. The reason for that is this jam nut is designed to hold this slave cylinder in position and keep it from turning under normal circumstances. But you can put a lot of pressure, a lot of torque on this with a 19 millimeter wrench, and inadvertently start turning the slave cylinder. And so we don't want to do that. So hold this steady while you crank down and secure your fitting on the nose of the slave cylinder. Thank you very much.